I don't know how well this is gonna work, guys. The rain is super noisy, but I'm gonna try it anyways. I have my hot cup of tea to keep me warm. I don't have my heater set up out here yet. It was too rainy to bring it over, but I do have a little lap quilt to keep my legs warm. So today I wanted to talk to you about some garden hacks that they're actually called grandma core hacks or something like that. And I'm just gonna go through 10 of them. There's like 40, but I was gonna talk to you about the ones that are viable and the ones that are kind of you can toss out the window. So let's get rolling on our grandma garden hacks. That may or may not work for you. Yeah, delicious blackberry cherry tea. So number one is sprinkle cayenne pepper to keep animals away. Now I have to say I did try this, and I did it around my chicken pen. I had a rat that was crawling in or digging in, and someone mentioned that to me, one of my viewers, and I thought, oh yeah, that's right. So I sprinkled cayenne pepper. I get the big old tubs at Costco, and I sprinkled it liberally around the outside where he would dig. I'm assuming it's a he. I don't know. But I also added it to my chicken feed. So if he got in there, because that's what he was after, he would get a snoot full of that too. And the chickens, it doesn't bother them. Actually, it's quite healthy for them. So yeah, sprinkling cayenne pepper. I have the flakes, the red pepper flakes. And sprinkling that around can help to deter critters from whatever they're digging into. You do have to reapply it after rain or if it's been there for a little while to boost its effectiveness because, you know, it wanes from either sunlight, air, or water. So, I need a sip. So, number two, feed soil with kitchen scraps like fruit peels, coffee grounds, and eggshells. Not directly. If you compost them first, and eggshells you'd have to grind up to a fine powder and or extract from them with vinegar, a vinegar soap, the calcium that's in them. These things are better put in your compost rather than directly into your garden. Now I have a blog post on instant compost, and that's where you throw it in the blender and you blend it all up, and basically it not decomposes, but makes it a slurpy like consistency, and then you pour it in your garden beds and then bury it. That works to break it down faster, but you know, you've got to use a blender. I would use one you got from a thrift store that you use for that only, or you know, just compost it. It's better because the microbes in the soil are going to have to break it down before the plants can use it, and that can take months, maybe even years. So go ahead and compost and use the compost on your soil. So number three, use grass clippings as natural mulch. You know, if you don't use pesticides or herbicides or anything like that or synthetics on your lawn, then sure, anything natural like that or plant material can be used as a mulch. Now some people say, oh, you're spreading weed seeds or the seeds from the grass around. I haven't had that happen. If you're mulching thick enough, that's to block weeds. So even the grass seeds wouldn't germinate. But anyways, that's the only time I would use grass clippings as a mulch, is if they didn't have any herbicides, not fungicides, but you know what I mean, anything synthetic put on it. And that way you don't have to worry about getting those kind of stuff in your veggie garden or in your flower garden, because I'm an organic gardener, so I try not to put anything detrimental in my soil, especially synthetics or chemically based things. So next one, number 4, grow vegetables in layers to save space. Now this reminds me of the square foot gardening technique. and it's where you plant thickly. Now, exactly what it means by layers in this, I'm not certain. But you certainly can plant a little bit closer together. Like lettuce, it'll say have it so far apart. Well, I will seed them closer, and then I will pick out the baby lettuces to space them apart and eat it as it's growing. So that works too. So I wouldn't say that's a no, but I would say, yeah, a lot of people do plant closer together in raised beds or in the garden beds, and it depends on what you're aiming for. So we were working with some potato farmers up in Idaho and Washington. Was it Washington? Anyways, and it was to help them to get better produce from their crops because they were not getting what they wanted and nutritionally wise. But talking to them, how they planted their potatoes, how close, what direction it was pointing in relation to each other, the plants, etc., determined how big the potatoes were. If you wanted big baking potatoes, you plant them a certain way. If you wanted more of the russet potatoes, like to fill a bag, and you didn't care about them being really big, you planted them another way. If you wanted the baby potatoes, you planted them another way. So I learned so much talking to them, and yeah, it was so interesting. But it can affect how large your vegetables get if you plant them too closely. I think this is going to be maybe a wash. We're supposed to get 3 inches of rain. I think it's going to hold true. And then I'm going to go paint. I'm going to go in my studio and I'm going to paint. I was thinking, off track here, a bunting. I was going to do like a fall bunting right there with using paper sacks, brown paper sacks. I was trying to use something that a lot of people get and use it as a craft supply. And then I have a tutorial on hand painting leaves and acorns and whatever for fall and on my pamelagropey.com. And yeah, I was going to think of doing that and to hang it back there. By the time I get to it, we're going into winter decorating, but I think it would be fun. Even I could do it in here because the light's so good. But my studio is heated, so it's more comfortable in there and all my supplies are there. But that's an idea. And you see my snowman painting? That is one of my tutorials on my website. So if you're interested in that, that has a lot of texture. So that's really a fun one too. All right. Number 5, soak seeds in Epsom salt water to boost sprouting. That's a no-go. It's a step you don't need to do. Seeds have everything they need within them to germinate. And actually it could be a detriment. It could actually inhibit their germination. And that has scientifically been spoken of by, PhDs, horticulturists, etc. So don't bother with that step of trying to soak them ahead of time in Epsom salt. Now there is a time that you do soak some seeds. We'll get to that at another time, maybe later here. I got to see. So leave grow lights. This is number 6. Sorry. Leave grow lights on 24/7 to grow lettuce faster. Yeah, that would work. Some things do need a little bit of dark time, with no light. And I'm not sure if lettuce is one of them, but the only reason I can say yes, partially to that one, is because, I have friends that live in Finland and Alaska and whatever, and because they have those long daylight time periods in the summer, then their crops come to fruition much faster than mine do. And it has to do with the day length. Of course, in those areas, they need it too because they have such a short growing season. But yes, that does work. It works for strawberries. It works for many things. But yeah, so additional daylight hours or grow light hours can increase or hasten the growth. So, okay, number 7, scratch or scarify large seeds for quicker soaking and germination. To me, that's too fiddly. You don't need to do that. Soaking, I do, like my sweet pea seeds, I will sometimes. You got to be very careful. They rot very quickly. If you can't get to them right away, it's not worth it. Many times I don't bother I just put them in the soil, make sure they get plenty of moisture. I've had sweet pea seeds fall on top of another container in my greenhouse, and they sprouted on top of the soil. I had not soaked them, nothing. It was just the moisture they got from the soil in that pot. So it's just an extra step you don't need. And scarifying or scratching them is a pain in the tooth for me. I find it too fiddly, and it hasn't helped in any of the seeds that I have done. Another sip. Okay. Number 8, turn plastic containers into fertilizer spreaders by drilling holes in the lid. I don't know, I guess it depends on the fertilizer. I use compost as fertilizer. I use a liquid organic fertilizer that is made from grocery store waste, and that it wouldn't help to put it in something like that, in a plastic container. Yeah, I guess if you had a granular fertilizer that as long as you had the holes big enough, but really if you just scatter it, that's pretty easy. So I don't see the help in putting holes in the lid, because you'd have to do the work to put the holes in the lid. Okay, 9, use paint stir sticks as long-lasting plant labels. This could work, but now a lot of the paint stores, unless you're buying the paint, and with the paint can, they only give you one paint stir stick. Yeah, and so they want you to pay for the rest. Now, there's a lot of, like, you can buy labels that are wood, or popsicle sticks that you can buy, or craft sticks. Now, sometimes you have to be careful. I've had some mildew and mold on me, the wood did, when put outside. So know that. You can paint them, and the part that's not in the soil, because I don't know if I'd want a painted item in the soil, but that's when you paint it, you could actually paint a vegetable, whatever vegetable it is, on it, whatever. So yeah, that can work, the paint sticks. Just know that they're not free like they used to be, at least not here. Okay, we're down to number 10, and I think this is going to be it, because I think this was a wash. Make dirt blocks from cardboard tubes for seed starting. Yeah, but you would need a certain recipe for the soil for it to hold together. Now, there is soil blocking. I've got a soil blocker tool. I didn't like it. I know others have done it and liked it. That for them it saves space or whatever. I have so many containers, and I like sewing in my tubs that I've used from plastic, recycled items, food items like salad containers and whatever. And I do a lot of sewing. Instead of it being individual seeds, I sew them all in that container, and then I prick them out and pot them up as needed. And to me, that works just as well as the soil blocking. So go from there. So that is 10 grandma hacks, garden hacks, that some are good and some, I don't think they're worth it. So I'm gonna go in where it's warmer, and I'm gonna go paint me some pictures. And I'm gonna hang some more of my art out here. I have a garden bug series that I'm working on. I have 2 of the paintings done. There's 2 more that I need to do. And I think they would be beautiful hanging in here. So that's it from my greenhouse in a rainstorm. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.